You didn't fall in love with them. You fell in love with a draft. A version of them you were sure you could finish if you just loved them hard enough, waited long enough, said the right thing at the right time. And somewhere in that project, you stopped being their partner and became their editor. This is the mistake quietly ending more relationships than cheating, than money, than distance combined. And almost nobody names it. Because it doesn't look like a mistake. It looks like love. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to spot it in yourself, before it costs you someone you didn't have to lose. Here's the thesis, and I want you to sit with it. Trying to change someone isn't a relationship strategy. It's a grief avoidance strategy. When you try to change your partner, your friend, your parent, you are refusing to grieve the person who's actually in front of you, in favor of the person you wish was in front of you. That's not a character flaw. It's not even about them being wrong for you. It's a pattern almost everyone runs, because accepting someone fully means giving up control over an outcome you desperately want. And that trade, control for connection, is the one mistake we're unpacking today. Think about the relationship where you kept thinking, once they grow up a little more, or once they get more emotionally available, or once they finally get their life together, this will work. Maybe it was a partner who wasn't ready to commit, so you stayed in the in-between, convinced your patience would eventually convert into their readiness. Maybe it was a parent who never said, "I'm proud of you," so you kept performing for the version of them who someday might. Maybe it's happening right now, with someone you're still telling yourself is a work in progress, as if people are renovation projects and you're the contractor. Here's what nobody tells you. The waiting isn't neutral. It isn't a pause button. Every month you spend trying to change someone is a month you're not spending finding out who they actually are and who you actually are with them. This mistake is so dangerous because it's disguised as devotion. It feels noble. It feels like loyalty. I don't give up on people sounds like a virtue. But psychologically, trying to change someone is usually one of three things wearing a trench coat. 1, it's control. If I can shape you, I never have to face the anxiety of not knowing what you'll become on your own. 2, it's self-protection. If I focus on fixing you, I don't have to look at what I need to fix in myself. 3, it's a bet against reality. I'd rather gamble on your potential than accept the math of your present. And here's the part that stings. The person you're trying to change can usually feel it. Even if they can't name it, they feel the difference between being loved and being renovated. That feeling of being a project instead of a person is what quietly poisons trust, long before anyone says the word breakup. You cannot love someone into becoming who you need them to be. You can only love the person who's already there, or accept that you can't. Let's be specific about what this mistake costs you, because it damages the relationship is too vague to act on. It costs you presence. You're never fully in the relationship you have, because part of you is always managing the relationship you're hoping for. It costs you respect, both ways. They sense they're not enough as they are, and you slowly lose respect for someone who needs your constant correction to be acceptable. It costs you time, the single resource you cannot renegotiate. Every year spent waiting for a future version of someone is a year you didn't spend building a real present with a real person, whoever that turns out to be. And eventually, it costs you the relationship anyway. Because people don't change to satisfy someone else's timeline. They change, if they change at all, on their own terms, for their own reasons. Your campaign to change them was never going to work. It was only ever going to exhaust you. So what replaces it? Not passivity, not lowering your standards, not staying in something that genuinely hurts you. The shift is this: move from changing to choosing. Instead of asking, how do I get them to be different? Ask, Can I build a real life with exactly who this person is right now? That single question does something powerful. It forces the truth out of hiding. If the answer is yes, you stop wasting energy trying to edit someone who is already enough, and you finally get to actually love them, undistracted. If the answer is no, you get your answer early, honestly, and with your dignity intact, instead of 3 more years into a renovation that was never going to finish. Practically, this looks like 3 things. You state what you need clearly, once, without campaigning for it on repeat. You watch what someone does with that information, not what they promise. And you let their answer, their actual, current, unedited answer, be real information instead of an obstacle to argue with. That's it. That's the whole shift. From trying to change the person in front of you to deciding whether the person in front of you is who you actually want. You didn't fall in love with a draft. You fell in love with a person. And the moment you start editing them is the moment you stop actually being with them. The relationships that last aren't the ones where someone got successfully changed. They're the ones where 2 people looked at each other exactly as they were and chose each other anyway. So here's the question to sit with after this video. Where in your life, right now, are you loving someone's potential instead of their person? If this hit something for you, subscribe. I break down one pattern like this every single week, the ones that quietly run our relationships without us noticing. And tell me in the comments, what's the relationship where you finally stop trying to change someone? I read everyone. Remember, connect with yourself and others. Reflect on your experiences and choices. Repeat the process, because growth is not a destination. It's a way of living. Join a community of curious minds seeking wisdom, purpose, and a more meaningful life. Think deeply. Live intentionally. Grow continually.